Now, so we've become familiar with these 8 patterns, and we want to begin to apply them in what's called direct proofs. Now, this is just one possible sort of organization of a proof. And here's an example. We're going to use everyday examples or imaginative examples at least. Um, and they're all short. Because Gimli, a character in Tolkien's Lord of the Rings books, is short, or maybe The Hobbit. I'm not sure if he's in both or just The Hobbit. Okay, well, so here's the title of the argument. Gimli makes a fire. So here's a situation described by the following propositions. Gimli works hard. If Gimli works hard, he is not tired. If Gimli is not tired, he will make a fire tonight. Therefore, Gimli will make a fire tonight. Well, now, this is not a rule of inference of one of the 8. So the idea here is to take the first 3 as premises, because there's no therefore, and then see, do these first 3 premises imply the 4th one? And here's how we're going to proceed. We're going to choose letters for each elementary or atomic proposition, so to speak, meaning it doesn't have any ifs or thens or nots or ands or ors, none of the words that represent logical connectives. So, for example, Gimli works hard. Well, we're going to let W stand for Gimli works hard. So our first premise here is W. Well, the first stage is just to assign names to all the elementary or atomic or basic propositions that occur here. So, for example, he is tired. We can't use not. So we say T is Gimli is tired, and then he will make a fire tonight. That's F. So we have names for all the atomic propositions. Then we can write this whole statement in symbolic form using these letters and the logical connectives. So the first statement, Gimli works hard, is W. The second one is W implies not T. There's the not, there's the T, and this last one is not T implies F. Gimli will make a fire tonight. Now, so so F is then the conclusion that we want, right? So the question is, do these 3 premises imply the conclusion F? Well, this isn't a rule of inference. This isn't exactly it's what we want to do is we want to determine, assuming these are true, can we conclude that F is true, that Gimli made fire tonight? Well, here's the argument. So we've done these first 2 steps. Here's the argument. Well, we have a series of steps. Each one is justified by either being a premise that we know is true or is deduced from the premises by one of the rules of inference. So, for example, here we don't want to just write them all down. We want to sort of see that these first 2 sort of look like a firm premise. So we can write down premise B as W implies not T, premise A is W, and then see that these 2 premises follow the pattern of a firm premise where X is W and Y is not T. Therefore, we can make the move or write down the conclusion here as our next step. So our Y here is not T, so we write down what not T. And the justification is a firm premise using the arguments on line 1 and line 2, argument step 1, argument step 2. So now we treat this as a known statement and we see, can we go further? Well, we can see that this result and not T implies F also follows the affirmed premise pattern. So we write this down as premise C, and even though it's the different order, it doesn't matter the order, whether we put X first or X implies Y first, we can see that we've affirmed the premise of an implication. Therefore, according to affirmed premise, we can conclude that F is true. So this is the justification for this argument that our proof that given these three statements imply the last one. So it's a valid argument. And if we could determine that these 3 statements were true, then we'd know it would be a sound argument. Okay, so the goal is to practice this with some more examples. for example, here, and I'll do one for you. Um, so here's one called Gimli relaxes. Well, let me, so this will be um, examples of Gimli proofs from text, and that is on page, beginning on page, say um, page 163. So what I'm going to do is then open a second external and open the textbook in it so I can annotate it. Um, and it will take me a moment to scroll down because I don't have the, oh, it's too far. Here we are, deductive reasoning, rules of inference, and we get to section on direct proofs. After some exercises, and there's one we just did. And now I'm going to do one for you. And of course, there's a whole raft of these in the textbook, and many of them also appear on regex. Um, so, okay, so here, well, let me see if I can use the text here. Okay, so Gimli relaxes. So we first want to look at this argument and see what are the atomic propositions or elementary ones. Well, obviously, one of them is uh, Gimli wants gold today. Okay. Then W we can take as Gimli works hard. It's useful sometimes to use a mnemonic. So this G is for gold, this W is for works. And the last one is Gimli is tired. Okay. Then now that we have this symbolic assignments for atomic propositions, we want to write down the translate the text versions of this propositions, our premises, into symbolic form. So the first one here is going to be, um, we want to write G implies T. There's a way to do that. You can write, there's a way to do that here in which you open this little window and then you'll say G, uh, right arrow, um, W, right? Now, it doesn't put it quite in the right place, but then we can put it here and then maybe make it a little bit larger. There. So that's the symbolic form of the first one. G implies W. And the second one is W implies T. Okay, so we can use this one again. W, right arrow, T. Put that down here and make it a little bit larger. Okay, so G implies W, W implies T. Okay, oh. And then we, if you want to, I was trying to select this. If you want to select it, you can click over here, then select this and then adjust it a little bit. So, and then come back to the third one here, which is Gimli is not tired. So we again have a special symbol there, and we can say slash NEG T, click OK, and then down here we have not T, and that's our symbolic form. Now I could write over here, this particular way of writing stuff is called, um, it's a, that's actually its name with that kind of, it's a math formatting system. It's used in all science, computer science, and math and physics. It's the standard formatting system for almost all technical documents like that. And so um, for us, there's codes like, for example, um, right arrow corresponds to here, right arrow, and slash neg corresponds to this, the negation sign. So you can have a way to write all these symbols in XJournal without having to, without having to use any kludges. Okay, well, now the big problem with these Gimli proofs, or with any proofs, is how do I know how to, the goal, oh, what's the goal? The goal is Gimli does not want gold. So let's go back and do that. That is neg G, that's our argument here. Okay, so how can we decide if these three premises are imply this conclusion? Well, one way is there's a strategy here in which you make a diagram, and this diagram is really it's a proof discovery diagram. Let me write over here. This is for two. This is for two Gimli relaxes. Okay, and it is a proof diagram. Okay, we'll have it in both places. So it's a discovery. It's a proof. Let me put it this way. It's a proof discovery diagram. The difference between constructing a proof and discovering what the sequence of moves that makes it a proof. Well, here's what we do. We start with the implications and we write them vertically. And we do it in such a way that if we have a repeated one, then we don't repeat it. See, we have G implies W, W implies T, and then we know something for sure. We know not T. Well, we know this for sure. This is sort of a positive statement. These other ones are just relationships. What we want to know is something about this. This is the goal. Well, the only way I can get from here to here is by walking up this pathway of connections. So you can sort of see, okay, well, if I know W implies T and not T, that's like deny conclusion. I would get up here and I would get, this is sort of the outline. I could get here not W, and then, well, G implies W, not W is another deny conclusion that would get not G, and that's what we want. So using this diagram over here, we can start with W implies T here, and we want to copy it, then paste it. There, so we start with W implies T, and the justification is that this is premise B, if these are like A, B, and C, okay? Then we can use this one. Oh, we don't want to move it. We want to copy it and put it. Oh, we don't want to do that. We want to copy it and paste it down here. And then that is premise A. And then we can conclude not W, right? Because that's using the pattern here of deny conclusion. So that's the rule of inference that allows us to move from here to here. Then we can select the other premise here, copy it and put it over here. I'm not sure, the pasting doesn't seem to want to go to the right place right away, but there is, this is premise A, right? And then we can see, well, not W, and W is another deny conclusion in which we can uh, somehow that didn't work. Okay. We want to copy and paste, and something's not quite going. Okay, well, oh, there's a dot. I think there's a little dot. It's getting the wrong thing. So let's just do it again here. Neg G. So this was, again, why do we know this is true? This is deny conclusion. This wasn't the this discovery procedure here. This is one possible proof, but you can also see that we didn't have to use deny conclusion. We could also have used G implies W, W implies T to get G implies T, which is skip middle, in which we'd have used the first proposition, the second one, then use skip middle, and then used a deny conclusion. So there's different sort of ways of organizing a proof. This just suggests what the sort of the starting point and the goal, and gives you some ideas about how to complete the proof. And so this is an argument or a proof and we've justified each step by either being a premise or using one of the rules of logical inference. So we know this is a valid argument. Okay, and that is the example of Gimli relaxes. Um, I guess it's a misname. It's sort of, I probably changed this. Doesn't sounds more like Gimli wants gold than Gimli relaxes. Okay, but there it is. Now let me, I'm going to get this page out and put it in on Piazza for you. So I'm going to export this and save it, and I'll do that later, is get this page. So I should put up here that see page 164 annotated. For context. Black. Okay, there we are. Well, let me go to another